Okay, so one of the things that Module 10 talks about are Power Pivot Tables. Power Pivot Tables allow you to look at more than one spreadsheet at the same time. So we are going to look at some spreadsheets that have information about tornadoes on them and see if we can combine that information to find the top 20 Nebraska counties, the top 20 counties by population and how many occurrences of tornadoes that they have. So unlike regular pivot tables where our data is already in our workbook, for the Power Pivot Tables, we will need to import the data. So we're going to go to the Data tab, and in the first group, we'll click on the Get and Transform button. So get data from file, from workbook, and you can go to where you have your file saved. We're going to grab this file. I'm going to click on tornadoes, and we can see some of the information that is on this spreadsheet, ID numbers, dates, state, county, and the tornado ratings. And first they have you load the data, even though they want you to query it to make some changes. And the change we're going to make is get rid of the state column because it's redundant. All these counties are in Nebraska. We're not going to delete the information directly from the spreadsheet. We want to maintain the integrity of that, but we will use a query to just query it out. So I am on these contextual tabs, Table Tools, Query Tools, and I'm going to go to Query and choose Edit. And in the query, Power Query Editor, they ask us to remove the state column, so I will select it and click Remove Column, and then we can go back and load that information. So again, on this spreadsheet here, we're going to name this one Tornadoes. And this has different information about the different tornadoes, the counties they're in, and so on. Now we're going to pull in another spreadsheet that has information about the population in these different counties. So we will go back to our Data tab. And we'll choose the population file. And this time, instead of loading the file right away and then going back and editing the information, we're going to edit the information first. So I'm going to select the table and choose Transform Data. And this just brings us to this same dialog, Power Query Editor. So here we can see on this table, these rows say null, and that's because the actual spreadsheet, there is no information in this area up here. So we want to remove these two top rows. So we'll choose Remove Rows, Top Rows, and then we can type in how many we want to remove. We're going to remove this ranking column because we do not need this information for our purposes. And then we want to use this first row here as our headers instead of this column 2 information. So we can just come over and use first row as headers, and it automatically updates it. So we're going to look at the 20 most populated counties in Nebraska. So we're going to sort this first in descending order. So the highest numbers are on top. And then we just want to keep the top 20. And now we can close this. Oops, I'm sorry. We want to keep this, and I should have, let me go back for that. When I was done, I should have come up here to the right-hand corner and chose Close and Load. Now, in order to use these two spreadsheets, we need to add them to a data model. First, I'm going to name this one Population 10, Top 20 Population. And then we will go to the Power Pivot tab and choose Add to Data Model. And whichever spreadsheet is showing, that is the one that will be added first. And actually, I forgot to click in my data. So I'm going to choose Cancel and click in my data so that when I add it to the data model, it shows my table. And I'm going to just simply come back over here and click on my spreadsheet and go to the Tornadoes worksheet, Add to Data Model. And now in my Power Pivot for Excel window, I have both of my spreadsheets and I'm ready to start creating my pivot table.